What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new Division video. What I got for you guys today is going to be a weapon comparison video. We're going to be comparing the exotic SMG, the House, and we're going to also be comparing the high-end SMG, the Navy MP5. That's just the one that I have because I have the blueprint for it, so that's what we're going to be comparing today. But before we do get into the video, I just want to let you guys know and give you guys some information on why I haven't been streaming and really why I have not been making any videos really in the past week, to be completely honest with you guys. So first off, I started school last week, like I told you guys. My schedule for streaming wise and uploading are going to be just completely random, I guess you can say, until I get used to the fact of going to school and working, and also I had a family emergency the last 3 days, so that sort of accounts for the reason why there's just legit nothing for the past 3 days. I was busy all day. I wasn't even home. My Xbox didn't even get touched or turned on for those 3 days, so that's where I was at basically the past 3 days. But like I said in my video a few days ago, it's going to take me a few weeks to get used to this. This is the first time that I'm going back to college in over 2 years, so the combination of going to school and work at the same time is a little bit different, and I'm adjusting to it slowly but surely. I am getting a little bit tired, but I will adjust to it. So I just wanted to let you guys know where I've been. I didn't give up, or I didn't quit, or I didn't stop playing the Division. I was just simply extremely busy with homework, school, working, and then, like I said, and then the fact of a family emergency happening, and I was basically gone for 3 days. I really wasn't even at my house for 3 days, so that's where we were at with our channel. But yeah, other than that, we're going to get right into the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I haven't made a weapon comparison video, I think, since maybe 1.6 or 1.7. I sort of ran out of weapons, and since we got new weapons for 1.8, I thought I would make one. So hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. If you guys do, make sure you guys drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and yeah, let's get right into the video. So getting right into it, as you guys see, our two weapons here. We have the Navy MP5. I'm using the Navy one just because I have the blueprint. If you guys don't have the blueprint, you guys might just have a normal MP5. It's completely up to you. I just have that because of the blueprint. And then obviously our second weapon is going to be the House. Now quickly, I just want to give a few reasons why I actually decided to compare these two weapons side by side. For one, these guns are extremely close-knit when you're looking at the appearance of the weapons. If you're looking at these weapons like in a real-life style, the House, I believe, is called the MPX. I don't know the exact real-life name for this gun. But obviously the House is basically a variant of the MP5 if you're talking real-world weapons. So obviously they're going to look, appearance-wise, extremely close to each other. Second, obviously right now for 1.8, the House is basically like the meta SMG. Everyone wants it. If you don't have one, you're probably out in the dark zone, or you're farming every single mission that you possibly can, and just farming in general as much as you possibly can until you are lucky enough to get the House. And then obviously for the other side of this, for the Navy MP5 or just the MP5 in general, I think the MP5 is sort of like a counter weapon for the House if you are going up against it, or just in general if you are unlucky and you are not lucky enough to actually have the House. The MP5 is probably one of the 3 SMGs that you're going to probably be using in replacement for the House. The other 2 weapons I would probably say is maybe the AUG or the AUG, and then also the third one I would probably say maybe a MP7. Any other weapon you want to use is completely up to you, but those 2 are probably the closest for damage wise and getting kills. But obviously the Navy MP5 is what we're going to be talking about. But yeah, I just think that these 2 weapons are very comparable, not only for the appearance and the close-knit for people using these 2 weapons in the game as of right now for 1.8, as well as I personally think that the stats for these 2 weapons, as you guys see, are extremely close. Obviously there's a few things with the House that makes it a little bit more likable and a lot more usable compared to the MP5, but we'll talk about that. And so obviously, since the House is actually indeed a exotic weapon, this weapon is going to come with a free exotic talent, which is always active on this weapon no matter what your electronics are, what your stamina is, or how high your firearms might be. Obviously this talent is going to always be activated, and the talent on the House is called Card Counter. If you guys have this weapon, you guys probably know how useful and how much of a difference this talent actually does make on the weapon. Basically what Card Counter does is 1/2 of the magazine deals 20% increased damage. The half with which deals increased damage flips after 15 seconds or when your magazine is empty. I will say from personal preference and how much I've used this weapon since I've gotten it from the drop, for PvP side of the game and PvE, I guess you can say, you can definitely tell the difference when you are in a gunfight, which is also the reason why I am pairing this weapon with these two talents of Unforgiving and then obviously the card counter. It's super helpful and it's super useful in PvP when you're getting down to your last speck of health. Sometimes it's a difference between you winning a gunfight and sometimes it's the difference of losing a gunfight. Obviously, I just want to throw that out there because obviously exotic weapons come with exotic talents, and obviously since a MP5 is just a normal high-end weapon, it is going to come with 3 talents that might not necessarily always be activated, and obviously it does not come with a exotic talent since it is a... Also, I wanted to quickly throw this in there so you guys are not wondering about this throughout the rest of the video. Obviously, you guys can see the 2 differences with the gear scores on my weapons. One is 278 on my Navy MP5, and my house is actually 286, which is completely optimized. It cannot go any higher than that. I cannot optimize it any more than I already have, so 286 is a max gear score for weapons. Obviously, you guys see the difference of a 8 gear score with my 2 weapons. Now, if we're going from a realistic standpoint for the stats on these weapons, obviously you guys can tell that my house is fully optimized, so 23% critical hit chance is going to be the highest that you can possibly get on a weapon. So if we're going from max stats on our weapons, obviously the submachine gun critical hit chance on both of these would be the exact same if they're fully optimized, so 23% and 23%. The magazine and the fire rate cannot be changed when you are optimizing your weapons, but the damage for your weapons, for the base damage, whatever you want to call it or talk about it as, can actually be changed since my house is fully optimized. And if you guys for some odd reason happen to have 7,456 firearms, then your damage for the house will be 21.2k. Obviously, like I said, since my MP5 is not fully optimized, it is only at 18.9k. I'm not necessarily going to say that the MP5 fully optimized would have exactly 21.2k damage like the house does, but it would be pretty damn close. I would probably say in the range of around 19.5k to around 21k at a a baseline as high as it could possibly go. Obviously, since it's an exotic weapon, it's going to have a little bit more of a difference for positive wise for this weapon. But I just want to throw that out there because I know some of you guys are probably wondering a huge DPS difference on the left-hand side of the screen for these 2 weapons, as well as the critical hit chance was different, and also the damage was different for these weapons as well. So I just want to throw that out there so you guys don't get confused and just see a huge gap of DPS. So getting into the stats of these 2 weapons, starting off with the crit hit chance. Now obviously if we're talking from a fully optimized standpoint for both these weapons, the critical hit chance max for SMG's game is 23%. We have a 21% and a 23%, so if they're both fully optimized, both of them are obviously going to be 23%. Magazine size, the house has a 30 round magazine size and the MP5 has a 32 round magazine size. So statistically, if you're talking with a magazine, if you have a fully maximized or as high as the percent can go on an extended mag, which I believe is 121%, I could be wrong, 122%, not sure. But if we're talking about a bullet difference for magazines, you're probably looking at maybe a 4 to 6 bullet difference, which at the end of the day isn't really that much of a difference, to be completely honest with you. So magazine size isn't really that much of a difference. But the big difference that I actually really didn't notice until I actually looked into the stats for these 2 weapons side by side, after I did actually get the house, a few days after I should say, is the fire rate. You guys see what the fire rate on the house is 850, and on the MP5 it is actually 50 lower at a solid 800. Now for me personally, some of you guys might not feel the same if you guys actually have the house, but for some reason I really didn't seem as if there was a difference at all with these 2 weapons fire rate wise. Maybe it's just because I was so used to using the Navy MP5 that I have right now, and when I swapped over to the house, it just really didn't seem like it was that much of a difference. Now, obviously, it's not that much of a difference. It's not like you're going from a MP5 to a Bullfrog or something. It's not that much of a difference, but after using the house for a long time compared to using the MP5, you can tell that there's a little bit difference of fire rate, but it's not huge like the Bullfrog. So 50 fire rate difference for these 2 weapons, which is going to go to the house. Once again, talking about the damage, like I said before, realistically, talking about stats for the damage for these 2 weapons, obviously if they're both fully optimized, the damage is going to probably be pretty damn close to the house for damage-wise. 21.2k for the house. Fully optimized MP5 is going to probably be in the range of like 19.5k to around, I don't know, maybe 20k even or 21k even. It's not going to be as low as this. Obviously, it's only got a 278 gear score with my weapon that I have right now. So getting on to the actual main stats of the weapons, the accuracy is actually higher, as you guys can tell, on the MP5 compared to the house. I'll show you guys some recoil patterns and accuracy stats here in a few minutes. But the recoils are pretty similar for the most part, but like I said, the accuracy is a little bit better on the MP5 compared to the house. Obviously, you're going to be able to manage a weapon that has slower fire rate compared to a weapon that has higher fire rate, so obviously that's one of the main reasons why the MP5 does have a higher accuracy than the house. Reload speed and range are essentially the exact same. You guys see there is a little bit of red on the MP5, which means the house is going to reload a little bit faster. It's probably like a millisecond, so you're really not going to tell the difference unless you're running a ton of reload speed on your build. Same thing for range, you're really not going to tell the difference, maybe like a couple DPS to be honest with you guys. And then lastly, the stability. The stability is a little bit higher on the MP5. If you guys don't know what stability is, it's supposed to let you move faster, side to side, back and forth faster. But since they're both SMGs and they're both variants of each other, you're really not going to tell all that much of a difference. And then talents, I'll leave that up to you guys. I'll talk a little bit more about that in depth in the video later this week, talking about weapons that can be a replacement for the house and what builds you're going to want to be using with them, what talents you're going to want to be using, and what attachments you're going to be wanting to use as well. So I'll leave that up to you guys for this specific video. But for my weapons as of right now, this is a 1.6, I believe, MP5. I've had this always since update 1.5. I have Deadly, Vicious, and Brutal. I really didn't use Responsive that much, so if I were to actually start using this MP5, I would probably put Responsive back on this weapon, or actually just go for a new one, to be honest with you guys. And then since this is the only house that I have Unforgiving, which goes really, really well with Card Counter, and then obviously since Brutal is already on this weapon, I just left it on there because it's active anyways. I'm not sure what I had on this weapon before for the first talent that was recalibrated. I think it might have been Talented, I'm not sure, but obviously I did recalibrate that and change it to Unforgiving. Yeah, that's basically it for the stats for the weapon. I'll go ahead in the underground and I'll show you guys the recoil patterns and what the damage is looking like for. Alright, so here is where we are going to do our accuracy test or our recoil patterns at. We're going to stay about this far away, so this is probably about 30 feet maybe, yeah. Basically 30 feet, go a little bit farther to make it 30 feet, so that's about 30 feet right there. Both these weapons, as you guys see, they have 32 and 30. They have no attachments on it. I'll show you guys just real quick so you guys can see it. These are complete bare weapons, no attachments, no mods, no skins, no nothing on any of these weapons. And we are going to fire a whole magazine from each weapon, and you guys can see the differences in the recoil patterns. This was my first test. I wanted to have an example for you guys. So this is with the MP5, the first one, and the second one is going to be with the house. So we're going to go in the same fashion again as I actually show you guys this live. I'm going to shoot the whole magazine at once. I'm not going to burst fire. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to pull down the recoil or anything on my controller. I'm simply going to let the recoil do its magic and let the magazine fire all the way through. So first off, so you guys believe me, switch back over to the MP5, and we're going to start where we started last time and just fire the entire magazine all the way through. Obviously, basically a straight line all the way from right here, all the way back up, and then switching over to the house. Keep in mind, guys, once again, no attachments or skins or anything on these weapons, so the recoil patterns are going to be pretty vicious and pretty insane. Now, one weapon I could probably say that these patterns compare them to is the MP5 compares to obviously something similar to like a AUG or an ACR maybe, but with this house with no recoil or with no attachments and a pretty significant difference for fire rate, which is 50 for these two specific weapons talking. The recoil pattern seemed like it was a police M4 or some form of a M4, maybe just because I use the M4 a lot, but obviously you guys can see the difference in the recoil patterns. The AV MP5 is just a straight line going up, and with the house it is a straight line going up, but it does have a little bit of a diagonal turn to it, going basically diagonal up to the right. That's sort of similar to the lightweight M4 and the LVOAC and the police M4 as well, if you guys are familiar with those recoil patterns on those weapons. They have very, very similar recoil patterns, but one does edge off a little bit to the right, and in this case, it is the same with these two weapons. The Navy MP5 has more of a straight line up and down, and the House has a straight up and down as well, but it does actually go a little bit to the right diagonally, if that makes sense. But yeah, that is basically it, guys. I wouldn't really give you guys any recommendations for these two specific weapons because this game is really, really diverse as of right now if you're talking classified gear wise. For the MP5 and the House, I mean, you could use both these weapons for Striker, Predator's Mark, Nomad. I mean, you really couldn't go wrong with specific builds that you're going for with these. Obviously, the Navy MP5 and House are extremely similar. With the recoil patterns, you know, your amount of damage you're going to be doing as well. But you really can't go wrong in general using either of these weapons. Obviously, the House is a little bit more sought right now just because it's an exotic weapon. It's like basically the best SMG in the game. If you're talking from a exotic weapon standpoint that people are using a lot. But yeah, that is basically it. Like I said before, I'll make a video probably sometime this week talking about specific weapons SMG wise that you guys might want to be going for or looking for if you guys are not lucky enough to have the House by now. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. You guys should be on the lookout for that. But yeah, that is basically it. If you guys are wondering with the build, I'm running a 4-piece striker. Some of it's classified, or 3-piece striker. Some of it is classified and some of it's not. And then I'm running a 3-piece Predator's Mark with the obviously the Ninja bike and the high-end vest. So if you guys were wondering, that's what I was using. I'll just throw that out there. But yeah, that is basically it. I haven't done one of these in a long time, so it seems a little bit weird doing one of these. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you guys drop a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Hopefully it makes you guys realize a little bit more that you can still do a bit of damage and have a good weapon if you guys are not lucky enough to have the House. Because I know a lot of people say, if I don't have the House, I'm going to get destroyed no matter what. And that's not always necessarily the case if you have a good enough build and you are actually using the weapons that you're using right. So yeah, that is basically it, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.